Code Explained says hi. Today we're going to talk about how to create a React app without using npx create React app. So what do we need to create a React app? We need Node.js, Babel, Webpack, and VS Code. So I'm going to talk a little bit about each one of these. So for Node.js, it's a JavaScript runtime, and this means that you can run JavaScript on your machine without the need of using a web browser. Also, when you install Node.js, this comes with the Node Package Manager (npm) that we use to install all the dependencies that we need for our project. Now for Babel, it's a transpiler or a transcompiler, and this means simply it converts a type of source code to another type of source code. So for example, when creating React app, we use React and we use the newer ECMAScript features. We can use TypeScript, etc. And all of these is not supported by all the browsers. For example, when you create a React component, you use JSX. And JSX here is JavaScript and HTML both in the same file, and the browsers doesn't understand that code. So we need to use Babel to transpile or to transcompile that code into JavaScript. Also, we transpile this code here into all JavaScript so we can make sure that all the old browsers can also understand our code. And now for Webpack, which is a bundler. So why do we need Webpack? So when we create a React app, we don't put all the app code in a single file, but we put them in separate files. Let's say we need to create a React application. So we're going to create this app.js file, and we're not going to put all the code inside that file. So we're going to create other components, and that's the whole idea behind React.js. So we're going to create the home, navbar, footer components, and then we're going to use the ECMAScript module system, or we're going to use import to import these files, these modules into the app.js. And also these components can use import to import other components. Well, not all the browsers understand or support the import system. So what we need to do here, we need to use the Webpack to combine these files here, all the files, into one single file that's going to work in all the browsers. And last, for the code editor, I'm going to use VS Code. And now before we go and start creating our React app from scratch, I want to suggest a very useful channel. The channel name is Tech in 5 Minutes, and as the name suggests, they make 5 minutes length videos about tech. They bring insights to the world of technology, Internet of Things, software development, and more. So don't forget guys to check it out. I'll leave the link down in the description. Well, without further ado, let's start with the first step in creating our React app. Now let's go and set up React. So first I need to create a folder here. So I'm going to call this React app. And then I'm going to open VS Code and drag and drop the folder. Now I need to initialize a node project, so I'm going to open a new terminal here, and then I'm going to run npm init then -y. So this will create a package.json with all the information needed for our app. Now I'm going to go and create some React files. So I'm going to create a folder called public, and inside we're going to need a index.html file. Also, I'm going to create a source file. So this is where I'm going to create my components. So I'm going to create a component called app.js, and you can see it starts with a capitalized. So this is a React component. Now in the root of my folder, or inside the source, I'm going to create an index.js file. Now inside my index.js file, I will need to go and import React, and also I'm going to import from React DOM. I'm going to import the method, a method called create root, and this will initialize a React app on the client. Now, I didn't install yet React and React DOM, so let's go and open our terminal and then run npm install and -- save. I'm going to install React and React DOM. I'm gonna hit save. Well, now you can see we have here a node modules folder, and also we have in our package.json some dependencies, React and React DOM. So now I can use them here. Well, the first thing I need to do is I'm going to create a container for my app. So I'm going to go to my public folder, then inside my index.html, I'm going to create a basic HTML code. I'm going to change the title to React app, and then here I'm going to add a div with the class or with the ID root, and then I'm gonna hit save, then go back to my index.js, then select this div here. So I'm going to use document.getElement by ID, and then I'm gonna pass in the ID root here to this method. Now I'm going to create a root, and then using create root here, and I'm gonna pass in the container here. And now I'm going to use the root render method to render my app. So the app here is the component inside my source folder. So I need to first go and import that. So I'm going to go inside my source folder and then app, and I shall call this app. And now I'm going to go to app.js to create my app, and I'm going to use RFCE here, hit enter, and this will create my component. So I'm just gonna go and change this to React app, then without npx create React app, and this is what we'll see when we run our app. So we can't do that yet because this is JSX. The browser doesn't understand this code here, so we need to use Babel to transpile this code here, and also we need to put all these files here into one single to combine them, which means to create a bundle of these files, and that's where we need to use the Webpack. So let's move on to the next step. Now it's time to go and install all the Babel dependencies that we're going to need for our React app. So I'm just going to go here and close these files. Then I'm going to open a new terminal. Now I'm going to run npm install. We're going to need Babel core. So this is the main package that we need for to use Babel, and then we need Babel /preset-env, and this is what we need to use to transpile ECMAScript 6 JavaScript to all JavaScript that's going to be supported by other browsers. Then we're going to install at Babel, then /preset-react. So this is what we're going to use to transpile React code, JSX code, into JavaScript. It's going to be supported by other browsers. And now I'm going to need to install Babel-loader. So this is what we're going to use when we set up Webpack. So when we set up Webpack, we need to use Babel to transpile the code before we bundle it with Webpack. And now the last package is optional, so you don't need to install this. So you just want to install babel/cli if you want to transpile your code using the command line. So you don't need to install this when creating a React app. Now I'm just gonna go and say --save--dev to install these dependencies as dev dependencies. So I'm gonna hit enter. Now, after the install of the dependencies has finished, now let's go and take a look on the package.json file. So you can see here that now we have these dev dependencies and we have all the Babel dependencies or packages we need for our React app. Now let's move on to the next step. And now it's time to install the Webpack dependencies. So I'm going to close this file here, then open a terminal and then use npm install. And I'm going to install the Webpack package. This is the main package that we need to install in order to use Webpack. And then I need to install Webpack CLI to run Webpack commands on the command line, and also I need to install the Webpack dev server. And this is the Webpack server that we need to use as a server in development. If you are familiar with NodeMon or Live Server, that's gonna be the same. Now I'm going to install these as dev dependencies. So --save--dev or just -D, and then I'm gonna hit save. And now after we have finished installing the Webpack packages, it's time to go and configure Webpack. Now it's time to configure Webpack. So I'm going to the root of my application and I'm going to create a file called webpack.config.js, and I'm going to export the configuration as an object. So I'm going to use here module that exports equals that object, and the first thing we're going to set here is the mode. So this could be development or production. So because we are in development, I'm going to set this to development. And now we need to tell Webpack the entry point. So we need to give it the file from where it starts to look for all the files it needs to bundle. So in this case, it's going to be the index.js, and it's going to look for all the imports from there to look for the files that it needs to bundle. So I'm going to use here the index.js. Now I'm going to go and set the output. So where do I want to save the files? So I'm going to use here a path, or to set a path. And to do that, I'm going to use the built-in module, node module path. So I'm going to go and say const path equals, so I want to import that using require path. So we don't need to install this. So path that resolve, and then I'm going to use the directory name, so this directory here, and then I want to save these in a folder called dest, and that's it. Now before we bundle the files, we need to tell Webpack to use Babel to transpile the code. So I'm going to use here module, it's going to be an object, then inside I need to add a property called rules, which is an array, so you can add as many rules as you want. So I'm going to add a rule for JavaScript and JSX file. So I'm going to look for those files using this test, which is going to be a regex. So I'm going to look for all the files that ends with JS or JSX. Ends means a $sign in regex. So all the files that ends with JS or JSX must be transpiled, then bundled. So now I'm going to exclude some files because node modules folder here has JavaScript files. So I need to exclude that. So I need to say node modules. This must be excluded. And here I must set what is the loader I want to use, which is babel loader here. So this is going to be an object, and I'm going to set this property loader to babel loader, which we have already installed. And then I need to also mention the presets. So I'm going to use options here. It's going to be an object with a presets property. So this presets property is going to be an array. Now I'm going to use the babel /preset -env. This is for transpiling AS6 and later to all JavaScript that is supported by older browsers. Now I also need to use the preset to transpile JSX files. So babel preset -react, and we are done with transpiling the code using babel. Now I'm going here to the output, and once the files are bundled, I want the file name to be index bundle.js. If you don't set this, a random name is going to be generated. So I want to bundle the name or the files, and the name of the bundle must be index bundle.js. Now, what is the use of this index bundle.js after all the files have been bundled? So the index bundle.js, for our application to work, we need to put this JavaScript in this index.html that it resides inside our public folder. So if I go to index.html, I need to add a script tag here that and the source must be the index-bundle.js. So I don't need to do this manually. We need to go and use a plugin. So that plugin is going to be, so I need to use plugins here. It's going to be an array, and I need to set a new HTML Webpack plugin. So HTML Webpack plugin will take in this index.html as a template, and it will add to it a script tag just like we did manually, and the source is going to be this index-bundle.js. So here I need to add an object, and then I need to set a template here, and it's going to be set to path again that join, and I'm going to use the dir name, then the public folder. So the index.html is inside our public folder, and then the name of the file, which is index.html, and I'm gonna hit save. Now I need, of course, to go and import this here. So I'm just gonna go here. It's imported automatically. So HTML Webpack plugin require HTML Webpack plugin. Now we need to go and install this using npm. So I'm gonna go here and open the terminal and then use npm install. I'm gonna install this as a dev dependency, and then the name of the package. Now I'm gonna hit enter. And now that this has been completed and we have configured Webpack, now it's time to run the server. To run the Webpack server, we need to go and say npm run dev, and this will run the server. But first we need to go into our package.json here, and under the scripts we need to add these scripts here. So dev, it's going to be equal to Webpack then serve, and I need also to add another script to build my application for production. It's going to be set to Webpack. Now I'm going to hit save. Now if I came here and hit enter, I hope we don't face any problems here. Yeah, and it says the project is running at localhost 8080, so which means everything is compiled successfully, and we should just go and hit control click to open our app. Now you can see here that it says React app without npx create React app, which is this file here, which is our app. So I'm going to just change this to hello, and you can see that the page has been refreshed automatically and the changes has been applied. And that's how you can create a React app without using npx create React app. Well, I still have the last part in this tutorial, which is set up in the server here. So what if you want to use a different port than 8080? So that's what we need to do next. Now let's go and change our Webpack server port. So I'm going to go to our Webpack config.js, and somewhere here I'm going to use the dev server. I'm going to use here ports and set it to 5000. I'm gonna hit save. Now let's open our terminal. Let's go and stop this one here using Ctrl+C, Y. Now let's go and run npm run dev. And you can see now that the port has been changed to 5000. Now if I click on this, Control click, you can see now that our app is served at localhost 5000. And that's it for this tutorial. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. See you in another tutorial.